Hey gamers, today we're going to look at Manitoba. Let's check it out. To set up the game, what you're going to do is you're going to have your deck of season cards over here, your little round tracker here. You're going to have all these little tokens here with your top totem on there. Each player is going to get a player board. They're going to start with one of each resource. They're going to have 3 Indians in the TP section. It says 3 there. 5 Indians here in this section. It says 5 there. You're going to have the score track. You're going to put your Indian right there on the 0-50. You're going to have these little score trackers, so if they go around it, they'll pick up this 50. If they go around it again, they'll flip it over to 100 points there. You're going to put up your little token track here, and then of course these are modular tiles that can just move around. You can set them up in any design you want, so the game will always be a little bit different. And you're going to put one of each resource out there in each one of the fields, and the resources are berries, buffalo, I think these are horses, and these are canoes. And so what you're going to be doing is you're going to be selecting tokens from this totem pole here. It's really cool, and either placing men out here or moving them around the land, or placing men on these tracks or moving them up the tracks. Very simple as that. Of course, everyone starts with their own little player board here, and I'll talk more about this later. So what happens is there's 4 seasons here. We start in the winter, and there's only 2 cards in the winter, and it even tells you, hey, spring is next. You go to spring. Spring says, hey, you had winter, winter was the one before this one, and summer is next. Same thing for summer. Fall is next, and fall goes out. We're done after this. So it only goes those many rounds there. So for winter, what you do is you grab these cards, and this basically is just the warm-up, so to speak, and you'll take your little totem and you'll put him right there. And what you're doing, it says, hey, everyone starts with 1 here, and then they get to place an Indian. Each player gets to place an Indian over here on the open land. So I could take one of my Indians, and I can put him anywhere. I'll put him here, the canoe, and take the canoe, and I'll actually put it on one of these rocks here. I'll explain the significance of that in a minute. And I could also put one on one of the tracks here to start off. This is basically just starting it. You put it on any one of the tracks. This is the feather track, buffalo, berry, and horse track. Let's just say I put it on the buffalo track. Now, whenever you put one on the track, you instantly get that reward. The rule book easily explains what each one of these icons do. In fact, after playing it once, you won't need the rule book again. This one's like, hey, first one to get here gets 1 victory point. Everyone else gets 1. And of course, first one who gets up gets more victory points. This is basically a victory point track here. This one gives you certain resources, mainly berries. And this one gives you like little cheats in the game, or little, bonuses, mini bonuses in the game over there. And this is kind of like a big bonus reward that kind of complies to all 3 of these. For instance, that little icon you see there says, hey, whatever one of your Indians are on one of these 3 tracks, you get that reward again. So you don't want to go there first, because you need one of these 3 main tracks here. So let's say I just go here first. Well, I automatically get 1 victory point, so I move my guy up 1. And of course, once everyone's done that, sometimes you have to do it again. And then that's it for the winter. Now it gets to the real gameplay here, because in the spring you'll see, and each one of these cards have a 3 and a 5, and then they have a bunch of question mark ones. And this makes the game just a little bit different every time you play. You're going to shuffle these and just deal out 3. 1, 2, 3. And of course, as you see, there's 3 you won't be using in each game. And you're going to put them out in order. These don't matter what order they go out in, because they got a question mark on it. So let's say it's a 1, a 2, and then let's say I got to put my 3 in there, so the 3 has to go next. 3 goes there. 5 goes last, so this one will be my 4 card. And of course, my start marker, I move my totem a little bit, will be right here. And I got the 4 and the 5. Now, whenever and there's my start marker, totem pole will go right there. The iconography on these are very easy to understand. For instance, at the end of each round, you'll get something. The hands here mean a scoring will happen. What you're going to do is take all these little tiles, you've shuffled them up in a little pile, you're going to randomly take 2 and then flip them over, right like that, and it tells you what's scoring. This one, either boats or buffalo are scoring, your decision. The other one says, hey, berries or horses score. Now sometimes it doesn't give you a choice. Sometimes it says, hey, X amount is scoring, and that's it. And of course, it's going to be one of these 4 resources. There are feathers in the game. Feathers are basically wild cards. They can count as anything. All right, so how this game goes, it's really easy. What you're going to do is the first player will take this totem here, and they're going to take as many tokens as they want and maybe they take just these 3 on the top. So what they're going to do, take those 3, flip them over, and put the little totem on that. Now, what they do is they can take any one of the 3 colored actions here. Now, of course, this is buffalo, this is horses, and this is berries. Blue is canoes, and white is feathers, in a way. Now, these also double as tracks. The only thing that doesn't have a track is a canoe. Canoe does not have a track. But anyway, I can take, as first player, 2 major actions or minor actions if I want to. Major actions mean I get to place Indians out on the board again. Now, if I place an Indian out on this board here, it has to be right next to another Indian that I already have on the board. So if I place him here, let's say, I can take this horse again. I'm going to put it on the rock right there. Or if I wanted to, as a second action, I can also place another guy and put him over here on the berry track. Those would be my 2 actions and my turn will be gone. Now, the berry track does give me berries, so I get some berries from the supply and put them here. Now, the reason you put them on these rocks here is that if you get 3 kind of resources here, you can automatically shift them now to your area. And if they weren't the same, which is what this non-equal sign means on the rocks, then you'll get one of these little tokens. These little tokens count for 2 victory points at the end of the game. However, during the game, you can utilize them to remove Indians or 1 Indian from your teepee. So from this area, I can't, these guys are sleeping. I can't use them. But if I flip this over, it'd be just 1 point at the end of the game, and then one of my teepee guys can move down here. Or if I wanted to, I could take one of my berries and exchange it for any other resource I want. So let's say I did that, and I said, you know what, I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to take this berry and I'm going to turn it into maybe a buffalo, whatever you want. But those are the things you can do with that. Now, the bottom track here has 4 of a kind. If you can get 4 different kind, not only will you get another one of these, but you also get to flip over any one used number 1 point. So for instance, if I got 4 different kind, and I could put them out, and feathers do count as a different kind, so there's basically 5 different resources here you could use. Not only would I get a new number 2, but I could flip over my number 1 again and renew it. And I can use them both. These are free actions in the game. You can use these, flip them over for free actions. Now, once I've taken my 2 actions, there are 2 minor actions I could take instead of those 2 major actions. The 2 minor actions are just moving your guy over to an area. So I could move him anywhere. Let's say it was this guy here. I can move him anywhere but to white or blue because I don't have a white or a blue. And so I would move him, let's say green. That's a minor action. I could take that berry and put it over here. Or a minor action would be to move up one of the tracks associated with that color. So maybe I move up here and grab 2 more victory points since I was the first one there. All right, but the reason I'm talking about those minor actions is when you have 2 actions as the first player, you get to do 2 major actions or 2 minor actions or a mix of both. What every other player gets to do that round is they only get to do 1 minor action. So they can only move an Indian or they can only move up a track as long as they got the color for it. Yes, there are ways to lock people out of actions. You can say, they're nowhere near a canoe or whatever, so maybe I just want the blue action, and they're not on the feather track, so maybe I just wanted, these 2 instead. Either way, once you're done, you'll add this on top of the stack, pass it to the next player, and go again. Now, as the rounds go, of course, you'll be moving down here. When you get to an area where you are scoring, let's say, and by the way, these are very easy to understand. At the end of every turn, everyone can move their Indian once around the board there, on the range there, or at the end of this one, everyone can move, if they have an Indian up there, they can move them up the track there. But let's say I went here. Now, once the end of this round happens, we have to score, and I give up either scoring canoes or buffalo. Now, there are areas on the track where it will not let you score, meaning you don't have to score this if you don't want to. Of course, these points vary, and let me get another one so you can see it here. The canoes actually go up in value and then go down the more you get. I'm sorry, the berries do. Buffalo build up very slow, 1, 2, 4, and then suddenly 8, 12, 18, 24 really get big at the end. The horses are, go up to 4 to 18, and canoes are worth 0 if you only have 1, but then they're worth 3 victory points the higher you get. So sometimes you may not want to score when that score happens. So if you're up to any of these little areas here, let me see, 1, 2, 3, or 4. If you have Indians in all those, you can score only when you want to. So there may be times where you may say, no, I don't want to score this round, and wait another season to score these buffalo as you're building your buffalo herd up higher and higher to get some more points. So these tracks can come into play for that. But anyway, once you score, it says it right here, once you score everything, and all of your Indians will come back, which are out here on the range. They'll come back into your teepee. All right, just like that. Now, as they come back into your teepee, you can't get them out. You can only use the ones that are here in the campground area. The only way to get them out of your teepee is basically to waste your turn in a way. So for instance, on your turn, let's say I take all of these. I flip the entire stack over, and instead of taking a move, I remove as many Indians from the teepees as I took in the stack. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That releases everyone back into my area. Now the good news is you only have to do this once, if ever, in the game, because sometimes you can get ambitious. Actually, that's a good strategy sometimes to be ambitious as well. So you're not really doing it that much in the game, probably just once is what I've seen in my games, but that's an option you can do in the game. Of course, that allows everyone to do just about any minor action in any of those fields. Now, at the very end though, you're going to do all that again, bring all your Indians in, and of course this time 1 from your teepee can go back to your camp and everything, and you are going to replenish the board here for any items that are gone. Once that's over, these 2 scores are going over in the discard pile. You'll gather up all these cards, and then you'll pick out the next 5 cards for the next level, which is summer, and you'll do that again in the fall. At the end of the fall, what you're going to do every time, this is the last card in fall, is you're going to take away 1 of each resource and then score each track. And why that's really important is because sometimes if you don't have anything in that area, that maybe I just had 1 berry but I have to lose it, well then I get a -2, and it's -2 for any resources you don't have it in the game. So that could really hurt you in the game. Now there is a place on the track here, it's the very end of the feather track that says, hey, you can avoid losing that -1 at the end of the game. It's kind of hard to get to. Well, I say hard to get to. I've seen people get to it before, but I'm just saying that's a way that can break that rule. And of course, just like this horse track, it kind of breaks a few rules that you would have in the game. And again, the rule book's very simple on this. But anyway, you'd add up whatever you have left. You'd add up any of these little necklaces, even if they're 2 or 1 point. And then, of course, whoever has the most points wins. Final thoughts. What do I think about the game? Well, I've been looking at this game on and off for about a year and a half. And it wasn't at BGG SpringCon. I really wanted to play it, and no one had it, and I just kept looking at it, and the one review I saw wasn't really that good, and I said, well, you know what, let's go ahead and pull the trigger on it, because it looks really interesting after reading the rules. And man, it is a great game. It's a really tight game. It's actually faster than you'd think. This game goes really quick because of the limited moves you can do each round, but the thing is, it's very important. You don't have to be on every track, but you kind of want to, so you don't get locked out of things you can do. You don't have to have all your Indians out on the board, but it does make a lot of sense. You can gather a lot of people or gather a lot of resources in that one turn. Unfortunately, though, there is the issue of having so many Indians going to the teepee. So maybe you just want 1 at a time, but people are getting more resources than you. And yeah, sure, they may have to waste 1 turn, but they got some big points there. And when you get these points, when you score them, going up certain tracks and not having to score points if you don't want to is big too. You can sandbag some points later on. Surprisingly enough, there is a lot of interesting choices to make in Manitoba, and to be honest, I don't think it would be boring. The couple of times we've played it so far, I've actually enjoyed this game. I really do. It's really keen. That totem, I've never seen a mechanism like that, and so it's unique. Is it the best game in the world? No, but it's unique enough, and the pieces are great because it's all nice wooden bits too, that I do think you would enjoy it. If you're into that kind of, again, it's a neat little strategy. kind of quick game. Most games, I mean, you're talking 4 players, so it's probably going to be close to an hour, but it's really not that bad once you get all the rules. And once you have to stop after your first gameplay, because then you're looking at all the icons, then eventually they all make sense after your first gameplay, and you don't have to look at it again. But other than that, though, yeah, this is a pretty smart game. I actually really love it, and I'm kind of sad that no one ever talks about it. But hey, I'm talking about it, right? That's what my channel's for. Talk about these games that no one really talks about. All right, gamers, that's all the time I have for now. Until next time, game on.